What happens when our own desires become our greatest enemy? Today, we explore a timeless tale from the Panchatantra that reveals how internal conflict can lead to our own destruction. In the ancient forests of India, where sages contemplated eternal truths, lived a most extraordinary bird. This wasn't an ordinary creature, but one blessed and cursed with 2 necks, 2 heads, yet sharing a single body. The bird represented something profound, the duality that exists within each of us. The 2 heads had distinct personalities. One was called Baranda, meaning the fierce one, while the other was Kubja, the gentle soul. Despite sharing the same heart, the same wings, and the same destiny, these 2 heads constantly competed with each other. One morning, as golden sunlight filtered through the forest canopy, the bird discovered a tree heavy with the sweetest berries. These weren't ordinary fruits, they were magical berries that granted immense pleasure to whoever tasted them. The moment Baranda spotted them, his eyes gleamed with desire. "Finally, something worthy of my refined taste," Baranda declared, stretching his neck toward the succulent fruits. He began devouring the berries, savoring each bite with obvious delight. The nectar was so divine that it seemed to transport him to celestial realms. Kubja watched this feast with growing resentment. "Why should you enjoy this alone when we share the same stomach?" he protested. "These berries benefit both of us equally. At least let me taste one." But Baranda, intoxicated by the sweetness and his own ego, refused. "I found them first. I deserve to eat them all. Besides, since we share one stomach, you're already getting the nourishment. What more do you need?" This logic, though technically correct, deeply wounded Kubja's pride. The gentle head felt humiliated and ignored. As days passed, this incident festered in his mind like a poisonous wound. He began plotting his revenge, thinking constantly about how to teach his arrogant companion a lesson. Several weeks later, while flying over a different part of the forest, Kubja spotted something that made his heart race with vindictive joy. There, growing beside a pristine stream, was a tree bearing beautiful fruits that looked remarkably similar to the sweet berries Baranda had hoarded. But Kubja knew something Baranda didn't. These were Kalakuta fruits, deadly poison disguised as delicious treats. Local sages had warned that even one bite could kill the mightiest elephant. "Look, Baranda," Kubja called out with false excitement. "More of those delicious berries you loved so much. Since you enjoyed them alone last time, let me have the pleasure of eating these by myself." Baranda, still feeling guilty about his previous selfishness, agreed. "You're right, my friend. Please enjoy them as I did before." But as Kubja moved toward the poisonous fruits, Baranda's intuition suddenly awakened. Something felt wrong. The berries looked similar but somehow different. "Wait," he cried, "let me examine these first, they seem unusual." "No," Kubja snapped, his patience finally breaking. "You had your turn with the sweet berries, now it's mine. You cannot control everything we do." The argument escalated into a fierce battle of wills. Both heads pulled in opposite directions, each determined to have his way. In their violent struggle, they lost control of their flight and crashed into the very tree bearing the poisonous fruits. The impact caused several Kalakuta fruits to fall directly into Kubja's open beak. Before either head could react, the deadly poison began coursing through their shared bloodstream. Within moments, the bird with 2 necks collapsed, both heads realizing too late the fatal consequences of their conflict. As life ebbed away from their shared body, both Baranda and Kubja understood the terrible truth. Their inability to cooperate, their petty jealousies, and their ego-driven competition had destroyed them both. This profound tale teaches us that we are all like the bird with 2 necks. Within each person exists multiple desires, conflicting thoughts, and competing impulses. When these internal forces fight against each other instead of working in harmony, we become our own worst enemy. The ancient Sanskrit wisdom tells us, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. If we cannot find unity within ourselves, how can we hope to find peace with others? True strength comes not from satisfying every desire, but from integrating our different aspects into a harmonious whole. When our mind, heart, and soul work together toward common goals, we achieve greatness. But when they fight each other, we invite destruction. The bird's tragedy reminds us that in life's journey, we must choose cooperation over competition, especially within ourselves.